Services. Thank you for everyone joining in on the live stream. We have all our stakeholders joining in or our social media live streams. And of course, as always, we have our friends from media joining in person in our Mumbai headquarters. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce them. And as always, I'd like to invite K. Kriti Vasan to take over for the opening address. Kriti, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Kritika, and good evening, everyone. This is a quarter where we displayed strong execution in the face of continued macroeconomic uncertainty. Our revenues grew by 2.8% on a constant currency basis. Our rupee revenue grew by 7.9% to reach 59,692 crores. Our disciplined execution across multiple margin levers helped us achieve an operating margin of 24.3%. This represents a sequential margin expansion of 110 basis points, translating to 14,483 crores of operating profit. Our net profit for the quarter has come in at 19%, translating to 11,342 crores. Consequently, our EPS has reached 31 from 30.26 in Q1. Cash from operations at 11,821 crores is a healthy conversion at 104.2% of net profit. The board has declared an interim dividend of rupees 9, amounting to about 3,293 crores. In addition, the board has also recommended a share buyback of rupees 17,000 crores at a price of 4,150 rupees. This is in line with our practice of returning 80 to 100% of free cash flows back to our shareholders. In this quarter, despite macroeconomic uncertainties, customer metrics showed improvement across all bands. The number of customers from whom we make more than 100 million rose by 2 to 61 customers on a year-on-year basis. There has been a strong customer movement across all the other bands as well. In addition, our customer base of 1 million plus stands at 1,272 customers, an increase of 62 over last year. Moving on to segmental commentary, United Kingdom continued to its outperformance to achieve a revenue growth of 10.7% year on year. North America grew by 0.1% and Europe grew by 1.3%. On a sequential basis, happy to report Europe returned to positive growth. Growth markets of MEA, Middle East and Africa and Latin America also had strong double-digit growths. Among the verticals, manufacturing, energy resources and utilities, and regional markets, essentially our banks and by BFSI platform, had strong sequential growth. On a year-on-year basis, manufacturing grew by 5.8%, life sciences and healthcare grew by 5%, energy and utilities by 14.8%, and regional markets and platforms by 14.3%. As you can see, BFSI degrew by 0.5% and consumer business, which would be the new name for our retail, travel, transport, and hospitality business, grew by 1% on a year-on-year basis. However, BFSI posted a positive growth on a sequential basis. Our deal wins continue to be very strong. Our order book closure for the quarter stands at $11.2 billion. This is a third consecutive quarter of more than $10 billion in order book. This includes two mega deals of JLR and BSNL, which we announced already. This represents a sequential growth of 10% and a year-on-year growth of 38% of TCV. Our order book for North America stood at $4.5 billion, for BFSI at $3.03 billion, and consumer business at $1.44 billion. Our attrition continues to improve. On LTM basis, our IT attrition has reduced to 14.9% from 17.8% in Q1. Last quarter, I talked about our investments in generative AI. During the current quarter, we launched our AI.Cloud business unit by bringing in together the power of cloud data and AI ML, including generative AI. Our customers are looking to leverage cloud migration, composite data foundation, application modernization, workplace transformation, and edge to cloud, coupled with AI to drive growth. Our AI.Cloud unit builds on our award-winning partnerships with hyperscalers and AI partners to deliver superior value to our customers. We also had an opportunity to validate our future-ready AI-first point of view and our four-layered architecture for enterprise adoption of generative AI in our customer summits in North America and Europe, which were very well received. We are currently engaged in more than 250 generative AI-powered engagements with our clients. We have also defined a catalog of use cases that help our customers to fast-track their generative AI adoption. As mentioned in Q1, we completed the initial generative AI readiness training for 100,000 associates already. Further training is going on for next level of training. As an update on our R&D efforts, we have filed for 218 patents in Q2 and were granted 149 patents. Both the numbers are significantly higher than Q1. With those updates, I hand it back to Kritika and we'll open it for question. Back to you, Kritika. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kriti. We'll throw the floor open for Q&A. Let's start with Anisha Jain from ET Now. Anisha, 2 questions.
One from each, right?
2 questions overall.
I'll ask it one by one, so just that it's easier. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Kriti, what explains the dip in revenue that we have seen this quarter? Is it a broad-based slowdown kind of request from clients to slow down the execution, or is it more specific to a specific client, geography, or vertical?
See, to some extent, it's broad-based, but we've been explaining it last quarter also. Okay, the trend is same. Essentially, clients want to invest in newer technologies. So technology adoption is very high. And given the macroeconomic uncertainty, there is also a lot of request towards cost optimization projects. So we are able to sign new projects. And the project that we sign, we continue to execute them and they yield the revenue as planned. But in any given quarter, there will always be some amount of degrowth. Essentially, some projects will be complete, they come to a natural end, and some projects will get downsized. So if the degrowth is much stronger, or usually in a regular good growth quarter, there will be less of degrowth and more of new addition coming in. So net, you see a lot of growth. But what's happening now is that we are not fully compensating for the degrowth, which is more normal process, but we are not fully compensating because clients are also optimizing or pausing some of the ongoing projects, and so there's some deferral happening. So that's the reason why you see, while the TCV is still strong, the revenue growth is not reflecting in the revenue growth.
Okay, so let me toss it to NGS. Since the ramp ups are slower, when are you expecting those ramp ups to actually show into the numbers? And will the bulk of it only come in FY25? And let me just add the questions for others as well. Samir, the margins is something which has surprised us positively. And you're talking about how the continued push for growth, efficiency, and innovation levers leave further improvement room for the profitability. So are you hitting that 26% mark this year itself? And the question to you is, a lot of reports around you coming back from the hybrid model to full time at work. Is that true? And what impact would it have on business?
Ramp ups, I wouldn't say they are slower. I think, all the new projects that we are starting, as Kriti explained, right, those ramp ups are according to plans that we have put in place. But as I explained that, any quarter, for example, for TCS, there will be projects which will get completed. In this quarter, we have 2 large transformation engagements we delivered successfully. They got completed, right? So to that extent, the revenue from those projects will be sharply lower in this quarter. So the revenue pull that happens from new ramp ups, new projects that we have signed is according to plan, right? So
what is that plan now for the ramp up of the other deal?
it's according to what we committed to the project, and it's a project by project we go through. I don't see any variations per se that we see now typically when we execute large projects, right? So customers are looking for cost and optimization, so our vendor consolidation, those are the projects and deals we are winning. The large scale transformation programs, what we announced for JR or what we announced for BS, and those deals are really shaping up. So it will have its own ramp plan, as a multi-year contract that we sign, right? I don't see any aberration per se in any one of those things. And we have a fairly a good capacity in terms of people, and we have invested in our people, trained them. So they're all ready to be taking up some of these projects as we speak, right? I don't see anything which is an aberration to call out, right?
Risha, let's take this.
चलिए, तो टीसीएस के नंबर्स आपकी स्क्रीन पे फ्लैश हो रहे हैं और मैनेजमेंट से अभी क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन जो है वो ऑन है। मैं कुछ बारीकियां आपको बता दूं। देखिए, एक तो जो सबसे बड़ी खबर है, नतीजे तो अपनी जगह ठीक है, इन लाइन है, लेकिन जो सबसे बड़ी खबर है वो है बायबैक के टर्म्स में 17,000 करोड़ रुपए के बायबैक को टीसीएस ने मंजूरी दी है। 4,150 रुपए पे ये बायबैक करेगी कंपनी, 4,150 रुपए प्रति शेयर के भाव पे 17,000 करोड़ रुपए का बायबैक है। और जो क्लोजिंग आई थी दैट इज नियर टू 3,900। देखते हैं कि अब कल के सत्र में कैसे परफॉर्म करता है टीसीएस। लेकिन ये 3,600 माफ कीजिए 3,600 3,610 के लेवल पे आई है क्लोजिंग, और 4,150 रुपए पे बायबैक कंपनी ने अनाउंस कर रखा है। और ये एक्सपेक्टेड भी था कि एक अच्छा खासा बायबैक जो है, एक टैक्स एफिशिएंट मेथड होता है बायबैक शेयर धारकों को रिवॉर्ड करने का, कंपनी लेकर आएगी बायबैक, और ऐसा ही मैनेजमेंट ने किया, 17,000 करोड़ रुपए के बायबैक को मंजूरी दे दी। अब रिजल्ट्स जिसमें इन लाइन नतीजे हैं, प्रॉफिट जो है वो हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि 11,160 करोड़ रुपए के आसपास आएगा। 11,342 करोड़ रुपए का मुनाफा टीसीएस ने रिपोर्ट किया है। क्वार्टर ऑन क्वार्टर बेसिस पे देखोगे तो लगभग 2.4% की ग्रोथ आपको दिखाई देगी मुनाफे के फिगर में। पिछली तिमाही में 11,074 करोड़ रुपए का मुनाफा था, वो इस तिमाही में बढ़कर हो गया 11,342 करोड़। ये इन लाइन है। रेवेन्यू 59,381 करोड़ एक्सपेक्टेड था, उससे थोड़ा बेहतर डिलीवर आप कीजिएगा। जो रेवेन्यू है वो 60,160 करोड़ रुपए एक्सपेक्टेड था, और जो आया है वो है 59,692 करोड़। क्वार्टर क्वार्टर बेसिस पे 0.5% जरूर बढ़ा है, लेकिन ये अनुमान के मुताबिक नहीं है। रेवेन्यू कम है अनुमान से, मुनाफा इन लाइन है। कामकाजी मुनाफा 14,195 करोड़ रुपए एक्सपेक्टेड था, 14,483 करोड़ रुपए आया है, तो कह सकते हैं इन लाइन है। मार्जिन्स, असली बात तो है ये, क्योंकि कंपनी ने इस बार मार्जिन्स जो बचाए हैं ना स्ट्रीट को, ये बहुत बढ़िया लगेगी बात। 23.6% के मार्जिन एक्सपेक्टेड थे, पिछले तिमाही में थे 23.2% के मार्जिन, वो बढ़कर हो गए हैं 24.3%। तो सबसे बेहतर बात है कि मार्जिन कंपनी ने ग्रो करके दिखाए, और ये टीसीएस के फेवर में चली जाती है बात। साथ ही साथ डॉलर रेवेन्यू देखोगे तो अनुमान के मुताबिक है 7,210 करोड़, 7,210 बिलियन यूएस डॉलर्स, और यही एक्सपेक्टेड था। और इन लाइन में नतीजे कहूंगा, मार्जिन पिक्चर बहुत बढ़िया कंपनी ने पेश कर दी 24.3%, और जो बायबैक की अनाउंसमेंट कर दी वो शेयरधारकों के फेवर में है। अब देखते हैं एक बार कि मैनेजमेंट आगे फ्यूचर आउटलुक को लेकर क्या कहती है। मेरे ख्याल से अभी ऑडियो में कुछ दिक्कत आ रही है, लेकिन मैं आपको एक बार फिर से बता दूं कि जो नतीजे हैं वो इनलाइन ही आए हैं, और जो हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे बिल्कुल उसी के आसपास मुनाफे की फिगर आई है। एक्सपेक्टेशन थी कि 11,162 करोड़ रुपए का मुनाफा कंपनी पोस्ट करेगी, 11,342 करोड़ रुपए का मुनाफा कंपनी ने पोस्ट कर दिया। जो मैं रीड कर पा रहा हूँ उसमें 23.6% के मार्जिन एक्सपेक्टेड थे, वो बढ़कर हो गए 24.3% के मार्जिन। तो सबसे बढ़िया बात तो टीसीएस के नतीजों पे है, मार्जिन पिक्चर बहुत बेहतर कंपनी ने पोस्ट की है। अब जो प्रेस रिलीज बता रहे हैं वो ये कि यहाँ पर जो मेजर ग्रोथ है अगर सालाना आधार पर उसमें देखें तो वो यूके मार्केट से निकल के आई है। ये बहुत बेहतर है क्योंकि यूके मार्केट ही कांप रहा था। इनफैक्ट यूरोप का प्रदर्शन पिछले तिमाही में कुछ ज्यादा खास नहीं था, तो देखते हैं वहां से क्या फिगर निकल कर आती है। लेकिन इस बार मैनेजमेंट कह रही है कि एक तो जो ग्रोथ है वो यूके मार्केट में ज्यादा दिखाई दी 10.7% बाय एंड बाय बेसिस पे। इसके अलावा एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज यूटिलिटीज जो है उस सेगमेंट का प्रदर्शन बेहतर रहा, 14.8% की ग्रोथ वहां से, और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग 5.8% की सिंगल डिजिट ग्रोथ दे गई। मार्जिन एक्सपेंशन हुए हैं, कंपनी ने साफ तौर पे बोल दिया। ऑर्डर बुक बहुत तगड़ी है, 11.2 बिलियन यूएस डॉलर्स की ऑर्डर बुक है, और ये बेहतर है। अब ये जो एम्प्लॉय काउंट है वो देखना होगा, एट्रिशन रेट जो आईटी सर्विसेज का एट्रिशन रेट कंपनी ने दर्ज किया, दैट इज 14.9%। और आपको पता ही है कि टीसीएस का एट्रिशन रेट पूरी इंडस्ट्री में सबसे कम होता है। डिविडेंड 9 रुपए का अनाउंस कर दिया, उसकी रिकॉर्ड तारीख है 19 अक्टूबर 2023। यानी कि अगर टीसीएस के शेयर आपके डीमैट अकाउंट में 19 अक्टूबर 2023 को होंगे तो आप 9 रुपए प्रति शेयर के डिविडेंड के भी हकदार होंगे। ये डिविडेंड आपको मिलेगा आपके अकाउंट में 7 नवंबर 2023 को, लेकिन रिकॉर्ड तारीख है 19 अक्टूबर 2023। अगर इस तारीख को 19 अक्टूबर 2023 को आपके खाते में डीमैट अकाउंट में टीसीएस के शेयर होंगे तो आपको डिविडेंड मिलेगा। और साथ ही साथ जैसे मैंने कहा कि मार्जिन है, कांस्टेंट करेंसी रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ 2.8% एक्सपेक्टेड थी कि इतनी रहेगी। मैनेजमेंट कह रही है कि क्लाइंट्स जो है वो लगातार जुड़ते चले जा रहे हैं, डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन पे कंपनी का जोर है, और बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग मॉडल्स कंपनी ने बना रखे हैं, स्ट्रॉन्ग डील मोमेंटम है जो Q2 में सपोर्ट करके गया है, लार्ज ऑर्डर बुक है, सेकंड हाईएस्ट टीसीवी एवर क्वार्टर में दर्ज हुई है, ऑर्डर पाइपलाइन बहुत स्ट्रांग है, ये सब मैनेजमेंट कह रही है। और देखते हैं कि आने वाले समय के लिए क्या आउटलुक मैनेजमेंट पोस्ट करती है। लेकिन ये दो बातें बाजार को हो सकता है कि अच्छी लग जाएं, एक तो 17,000 करोड़ रुपए का बायबैक 4,150 रुपए प्रति शेयर पे, और दूसरा मार्जिन 24.3% के, ये दो ही काफी थे वैसे टीसीएस के लिए। आप देखते हैं कि बाकी की आईटी कंपनियां कैसे प्रदर्शन करती है, लेकिन हाँ ये समझ में आता है कि जो ग्रोथ है, जो बाकी आईटी कंपनियां भी टीसीएस के बिजनेस मॉडल के हिसाब से अगर देखा जाए तो यूके की मार्केट स्ट्रांग रहेगी, नॉर्थ अमेरिका कुछ ज्यादा स्ट्रांग नहीं रहेगा। टीसीएस के केस में भी 0.1% की ग्रोथ दर्ज हुई है नॉर्थ अमेरिका से। यूरोपीय कॉन्टिनेंट भी कोई बहुत स्ट्रांग नहीं रहेगा, 1.3% की ग्रोथ रही है। जो मेजर मार्केट्स रहेंगे आईटी कंपनियों के लिए दैट इज यूके और मिडिल ईस्ट अफ्रीका। टीसीएस कह रही है 15.9% की ग्रोथ तो मिडिल ईस्ट और अफ्रीका से देखने को मिली है, यूनाइटेड किंगडम से 10.7% की ग्रोथ देखने को मिली है। तो ये दो रीजन्स बहुत स्ट्रांग रहेंगे। और वर्टिकल्स के हिसाब से टीसीएस जो बोल रहे हैं वो है 14.8%। एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज यूटिलिटीज जो है सेगमेंट, ये बहुत तगड़ा ग्रोथ करके गया है। बीएफएसआई कैसे, ओहो, बीएफएसआई की ग्रोथ है -0.5%। तो जो मेजर रेवेन्यू कंट्रीब्यूटर है उसमें ही बहुत बढ़िया ग्रोथ नहीं आई है, वो डी ग्रोथ है -0.5% बाय बेसिस पे। लेकिन ये रिजल्ट एक्सपेक्टेड लाइंस पे, और देश की सबसे बड़ी कंपनी कह रही है अगर कि 24.3% के मार्जिन रिपोर्ट हो गए हैं तो वो बाजार को अच्छा लगेगा। अब मिड कैप आईटी स्टॉक से एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत ज्यादा जुड़ जाएंगी। मैं एक बार फिर से कोशिश करता हूं, मैनेजमेंट क्या कह रही है उसको सुनना जरूरी है, तो एक बार देखते हैं मैनेजमेंट का आउटलुक क्या है फ्यूचर अर्निंग्स को लेकर। मुझे लगता है कि टेक्निकल ग्लिच की वजह से यहाँ पर ऑडियो जो है वो नहीं आ पा रहा है, और मैं अपनी बैक एंड टीम को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वहां पर अगर उनको ये इशू सॉल्व हो जाए तो प्लीज और प्लीज वो बता दें, क्योंकि अभी मैनेजमेंट क्या कह रही है ये जानना जरूरी है। लेकिन
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can take strategic calls, but in general, yes.
Nima,
We would definitely we would take strategic calls on specific accounts. At an portfolio level, guiding beacon 26 to 28.
we can take this more offline.
Regarding the negative headcount, I've been saying for now last 3 or 4 quarters that we have been investing heavily in our fresh talent, and that investment is now paying off. Having said that, there is a reduced attrition. We have recalibrated our hiring numbers. And as a result, our total hiring is less than our attrition this quarter, and hence the negative number. That is basically basically the dynamics of that. Nothing more than that. It is basically more you see as a investment paying off. That is the way to look at it. With respect to trainee hiring continues to be what we have been doing all along, and we continue to onboard trainees. We onboarded trainees last quarter. We onboarded trainees in this quarter, and we'll continue to onboard them as we go along. The number of how many we get them every quarter depends on the business situation. But what I tell you, and I've been telling all along, that we obviously honor all the offers. So there may be some delays, a quarter here and there, but they will come on board.
Thank you. Next question from Ramata Mazumdar from the Economic Times.
Hi. A couple of queries for Milind first. Again, going back on fresher hiring, just want to understand, has the company started the campus placements process? I understand it's a bit delayed this year for all companies. So the commentary on that, what is the situation with the variable pay for this quarter? And, from Kriti, I would want to understand, one is, what is the outlook from customers in North America? Like, what is the feedback that you're getting over there? That is one. And second is in terms of the situation that we have seen in Israel. Just want to understand if there's any impact to the business of your company or to any of the client projects that are, whatever is operating from the region. So, yeah.
Amita, campus hiring, as you know, we have discussed many times, is a core trainees every year, and we have initiated the process this year as well. So that is on. With respect to variable pay, we are going to basically have 100% of the variable pay for 70% of our workforce. The remaining workforce will get paid based on the business unit performance.
Amita, if you look at what's happening in North America, overall economic macroeconomic situation is slightly confusing, right? Like your North America unemployment rate is still low, and inflation is slow coming down. Okay, but the outlook for spend is still high, but what we are told is the household saving is coming down, and it's projected to slow down further in 2024. So this is the backdrop in which you need to see the discussion. Generative AI has caught everybody's attention. When we talked about our customer summit, almost everyone discussed about generative AI as a key theme, how they are trying to leverage it for new products and services. And given that there is a overhang of economic uncertainty, there are discussions around how do you optimize projects. Is there opportunity to consolidate operating model transformation? So these are the broad themes that you hear, like nothing very specific or specifically different from previous quarter. On Israel, I would request NGS to answer, because most of the projects are anyway directly managed by him.
I think at the outset, I want to thank and my salute to all the employees in Israel. They stay put. They are supporting our clients, and we are in touch with them and ensure that they are safe, number one, and do their bit to support the community in which they live, right? I think that's the first thing. Overall, in any of these kind of situations, we work very closely with our customers and listen to them in terms of what is it that they are planning to do for their own workforce. What is the priority for their applications and system support and things like that. So I think we have talked to all our customers, our employees, and our business continuity plans where it need to be executed. We are on track to execute it. So as we speak, I can't say it's business as usual, but from our obligations perspective and our focus to support the community that we live, I think our leadership team here is in constant touch with our customers and employees to do the right thing. It's about 250 plus employees and dependents that we have.
Shivani Shinde from Business Standard.
Hi, gentlemen. Um, First question to Milind again. Is it fair to assume, especially with you getting employees back to office for 5 days, the 25 by 25 strategy is done away with, or is there a rethink happening within the company on that? Kriti and NGS can also add on to that. NGS, $11.2 billion order book. Can you break this up for us in the sense which are the geographies which are leading it? Europe, I think UK, this is the third consecutive quarter where it's leading the growth. So if you can give some color on the 11.2 billion, also is BSNL in it? And of course, in this quarter, do we have a BSNL impact? Kriti, you said that two questions for you. Two, you said that your regional and smaller markets or rest of the world, rather, I should put, has done very well. In the current scenario that's happening, do you see some impact? Middle East, do you see because of what's happening in Israel impacting your growth story there? And also on the RMG issue, if you can give us an update, what's happened there? Um, and to Sameer, work from office, so impact on margins, is there room optimization for that? Yeah.
Shivani, like I said, after means we have internally management team, we have brainstormed this quite a bit. Um, Having a large number of people coming in the last 3 years, we believe it is important that we get them to office. And I said this earlier, primarily to make sure.
तो एक बार मैं फिर से बता दूं, देखिए सवाल जवाब का सिलसिला जो शुरू हुआ है उसमें ये पूछ रहे हैं कि खाड़ी देशों में जिस तरीके का तनाव ऐसे में देखने को मिल रहा है, स्पेशली इजराइल में, तो क्या उससे बिजनेस पे कोई असर पड़ेगा कि नहीं? बिजनेस पे तो ऑब्वियसली असर पड़ेगा, लेकिन जो मेजर टेरिटरीज कंपनी ने गिनवाई है दैट इज यूके, जो कंट्रीब्यूट कर रही है। और अभी तो बोल दिया कि मिडिल ईस्ट और अफ्रीका में बहुत अच्छी ग्रोथ देखने को मिल रही है, लेकिन भविष्य में क्या उसका असर पड़ेगा, बड़ा असर, तो वो एक कहने वाली बात होगी। पर अभी कंपनी ने यही बोला है कि हाँ, दिस यूके मार्केट और मिडिल ईस्ट और अफ्रीका ये बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग ग्रोथ कर रहे हैं। अब इजराइल के ऊपर तनाव का असर तो डेफिनेटली टीसीएस पे एज अ कंपनी, एज अ ग्रुप पड़ता हुआ नजर आएगा। पर अभी जो बाजार अच्छे तरीके से इस रिजल्ट्स को ले रहा है वो ये है कि एक तो मार्जिन बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग 24.3% एंड देन बायबैक 17,000 करोड़ रुपीस। तो वही बात है कि लॉन्ग टर्म में जिसके पास टीसीएस के शेयर्स हो तो कंपनी किसी ना किसी तरीके से, जो बेहतर गवर्नेंस वाली कंपनी होती है जिनका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग होता है और जिसमें इंस्टीट्यूशंस बेट लगाते हैं, वो यही चीज देखते हैं कि निवेशकों को रिवॉर्ड मिले। तो निवेशकों को इस समय कंपनी बोल रही है कि वो बायबैक कर रही है अपने शेयर्स, वो सोचते हैं कि अंडर वैल्यूड शेयर्स हैं, तो 4150 रुपए पे 4150 रुपए प्रति शेयर पे बायबैक का ऑफर दे दिया। 17,000 करोड़ रुपए का ये बायबैक है। ऊपर से जो मैं रिजल्ट्स बोल रहा हूँ उसमें कोई ऐसा पैरामीटर ही नहीं है जिसमें नतीजे आउट ऑफ लाइन गए हों, इन लाइन गए हैं। बस एक रेवेन्यू की जो फिगर है दैट इज नॉट अकॉर्डिंग टू एस्टिमेट, थोड़ा सा कम आ गया वो रेवेन्यू, जो हम अनुमान कर रहे थे 60,160 करोड़ रुपए का, उसके मुकाबले 59,692 करोड़ रुपए इसका रेवेन्यू है। लेकिन बाकी के सब पैरामीटर्स पे टिक मार्क है, जैसे कि प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी ग्रो करी है 2.4% क्वार्टर क्वार्टर बेसिस पे। एस्टिमेट था 11,162 करोड़ रुपए का, उसके मुकाबले 11,342 करोड़ रुपए टीसीएस ने एज प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स रिपोर्ट किया है, तो दिस इज गुड, इन लाइन है। एबिट जो बहुत क्लोजली मॉनिटर होता है कि भैया कामकाजी मुनाफा कितना कमा के दिया है कंपनी ने, तो 14,483 करोड़ रुपए का एबिट फिगर है। 14,195 करोड़ रुपए एक्सपेक्टेड था, तो ये भी 5.3% की ग्रोथ है, आप समझो एबिट में क्वार्टर क्वार्टर बेसिस पे। अब देश की सबसे बड़ी कंपनी कह रही है 5.3% एबिट बढ़ गया, इनका तो बेस ही बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है, तो फिर तो छोटी कंपनियों से और जो मिड कैप स्टॉक्स हैं जो आईटी सेक्टर के, उनसे तो बहुत उम्मीद बन जाएगी कि कामकाजी मुनाफा अगर उनका तिमाही दर तिमाही कितना ग्रो करके गया है। बाजार ने अंडरवेट कर रखा है इस समय आईटी सेक्टर को, नतीजे इनलाइन आ गए हैं। और ये हमने पिछली तिमाही में भी देखा था कि अगर हल्के से भी इनलाइन नतीजे आ गए तो उसके बाद तो रिवर्स गियर मारी कहां टीसीएस ने, पिछली तिमाही से लेकर अब तक तो ग्रोथ ही करा है स्टॉक। इन्फोसिस भी ग्रो करके गया है और बाकी की आईटी कंपनियों में भी अच्छी खरीदारी हुई है, तो हो सकता है कि खरीदारी आ जाए, कोई भी डिप आया तो ये एब्जॉर्ब हो जाएगा ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। मार्जिन 24.3% है और ये हाईलाइट फिगर है इस बार के नतीजों में कि 23.2% से मार्जिन सीधा 110 बिप्स बढ़ गए, 24.3% आ गए। और डॉलर रेवेन्यू तो 7,210 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर हैं ही, 7,226 यूएस मिलियन डॉलर से घटकर 7,210 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर आए हैं। लेकिन ये नतीजे इन लाइन हैं और बायबैक की खबर भी बाजार को पसंद आएगी। आइए सुनते हैं मैनेजमेंट।
To do the right thing for every project, right? So it's a question of what is required at this stage, right? We had discussed it internally, and we have been advising our employees to come and work with us in the office, right? And the advantages are being realized, right? And people feel that it is better to be in the office. So we have got about 70% of our employees have started to come to office, right? That's at this stage, which is a very good thing, right? And given that the large scale hiring that we did and the kind of attrition that we experienced, and we feel that there is a mix of people, leadership, etc. we have today, which we believe that it is advisable to get everybody back to office at this stage, which is the need of the hour for TCS, so that, as Milind explained, the TCS way of working, the mentorship that they experience, and the kind of interactions that one typically has in a collectively with the customers. These things are not taught anywhere. These things are observed and learnt, right? And it's better done in a collective um workplace or coexisting workplace, right? So I think we felt that that is something that we need to emphasize at this point in time. So we are getting into that. 25 by 25, in that context, if you look at it in that context, if you say 25 by 25 is going to be defocused now, I mean, yeah, that's a one conjecture that you can actually have it. But we don't have to say that we are going to stick to 25 by 25 or it's going to define as 25 by 27. We'll talk about all of this. But important thing is, do we have the systems, processes, and the agility and the diligence with which we execute projects, whatever the situation commands, right? Now, the way that we execute projects for our Israeli clients now, today, is very different from the way that we are executing projects for Indian clients, right? So the important thing is, do we have the right systems, processes, and procedures to adapt ourselves to the needs of things? Our focus is to get everybody back to office, and so that the people who have joined us the last about 2 years or 3 years get the full feel of TCS. I think that's more important.
The office infrastructure, to begin with, we did not give away any of our office spaces. We continued to invest into our infrastructure. So, and if you see over the last couple of years, our infrastructure expenses, discretionary expenses also went up, and we took measures where we can optimize or we want to optimize on. So expenses might go up, but we don't see a substantial impact on margins.
Harshada Sawat from CNBC Awaz. Harshada, two questions, please.
Good evening, gentlemen. I want to understand as to what the sentiment amongst your clients is, because last quarter when we spoke, you said they're very cautious, they're not looking to spend money at all. And Kriti, you specifically mentioned that you can't comment on H2 because you hadn't grown in Q1. Has the sentiment changed?
No, I would say the sentiment has remained same. We're quite cautious because, as I told last time, as I mentioned now, we don't have any better information. Like, can anyone tell us when the economy will be back on track? If once we have a certainty, everyone will start spending. At this time, there is anticipation of slowdown, and so people behave accordingly.
So the fear the market is also trying to factor in or perhaps address and perhaps take a comment from you, gentlemen, is that FY25 could also be a washout year. And two brokerages have also said that. Is that a fear amongst your clients at this point in time? Because I see you winning deals. And should one understand that perhaps the deal conversion is going to take far longer than anticipated, and it may take longer to reflect in the revenue as well, NGS?
I think it's safe to assume that the planning horizon for all of this, especially in this sector, and given what's happening, probably a fortnight. Right? Anything to look beyond to talk about to FY25 now is, I think, too premature.
But deal conversions are they going to take longer than anticipated?
I mean, I think we've got
10 billion.
3 successive quarters of good deal bookings, and I think what we would like to focus on is to execute them as fast and as efficiently we can.
Thanks, Harshada. Ekta Suri from Z Business.
गुड इवनिंग सर। सर मैं पूछना चाहूँगी कि आपकी पार्टनरशिप हुई थी एनवीडिया के साथ एआई को लेकर, वो जो ट्रेनिंग सेशन है वो कहाँ तक पहुँचा है? एंड गोइंग अहेड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एआई projects are you planning for your clients, or what kind of demand is there in the market for the same?
You
No,
want
the
to say?
training process for our alliance with NVIDIA, we started the training like because it's NVIDIA is, as you know, is a more a semiconductor and chip manufacturer. So we are working with them on how we can leverage the infrastructure for training more of our associates. You'll hear the plans soon. Uh, kind of projects like what you see is the complexity of the generative AI projects are increasing. Like uh, as when you started, the projects were more about knowledge discovery, but as our clients understand more on what we can do, or we go and explain to them what is out of possible, you slowly see the complexity of the projects increasing. Like for instance, now we are doing projects around some sort of a co-pilot for a financial advisor. When the financial advisor is talking to their client, what kind of advice they can give, okay, or when you are talking to actuarial, like helping them, I'm sorry, the underwriter, helping them in underwriting the policy. So the complexity of the projects that we are doing is steadily increasing. You will hear more and more interesting case studies as we go along.
And also, as we are seeing like negative growth in certain sectors like BFSI, communications, and media, technology, and services, is there any specific reason for it? And when do we see that this will be positive? And as you were mentioning that there are certain kind of AI projects that you are doing for, like a financial sector you just mentioned. So various industries and various sectors, when they are going and talking about AI, so is it like, are they genuinely prepared? Is the tech foundation strong enough to build the building of an AI? Because what's happening nowadays is that the tech foundation already was haywire, and you're building an AI on that foundation. So the CRM and other services are highly impacted, because the a customer is also lost, and also the company is also lost, because they want to be part of the AI thing but are not strong enough for the same.
Go
I
ahead.
can add.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you are able to articulate this better than us, so we are going to hire you, right? But be that as it may, I think NVIDIA partnership is extremely critical and important. It gives us a tremendous opportunity, right? The AI processors on which the art of possible is phenomenal, right? Across these various verticals, we have clocked, as Kriti said in his opening remarks, a number of use cases, and we have cataloged all of them per vertical, and we have been able to go and engage with clients in conversations, whether it is related to, as you read, as rightly said, whether it is CRM related processes, or payments related opportunities, or wealth advisory related opportunities. So each one of these verticals we have defined and cataloged certain use cases, which is what we are using right now to go and engage in conversations. But having said that, look, clearly, it has captured the imagination. And the tech foundation that you talked about, I think customers who have moved into a cloud native architecture and cloud native things, it's a lot easier to implement, no doubt about it. But people who are in their in progress journey and then have adopted a multi-cloud strategy and things like that, there are certain enhancements to the foundation that we have to do. But overall, it's a lot of work, a lot of interesting work, a lot of intellectual discussions. So very nice, actually.
Thank you. Debangana Ghosh from Money Control.
Hello, gentlemen. My first question to Milind. The bribery probe has now been completed. So just wanted to understand from that perspective, what kind of measures are being taken, to ensure that the compliance happens and these kind of situations don't come up. That's one question. My second question is to NGS sir. NGS sir, you mentioned that Israel also has around more than 250 TCS employees at the moment. So are there any steps being taken to evacuate them, or is the situation has the situation grown to that extent to you'll need an evacuation there? That's And I also wanted to understand. You had mentioned in the previous quarter that TCS was working on building its own LLM. So is there any update there?
Okay. Uh, I think when the investigation has happened, obviously as all the details of the investigation followed by all the suggested actions in terms of what we need to do from a process, from a technology, from people standpoint, and all those actions are actually very very well documented. I probably will not get into those details right now, but I think it is we have to look into all these aspects, organizational aspects, people aspects, technology aspects in terms of how technology can help us prevent some of these things, and some of the process related aspects as well.
Any best practices you could mention?
Actually, too detailed for me to mention all of these things in this forum, but in general, basically along these four lines.
So as far as Israel is concerned, we are watching the situation, and if people want to come back or people want to stay, is some kind of discussions we have to take it along with our customers. Number one, and most flights are now put on hold or cancelled. So we'll see how it evolves, but safety of our employees is a primary factor in deciding that. And having said that, out of the 250 employees I talked about, a good number of them are locals as well, right? So we have to worry about people from India or other countries who have gone there for projects execution. So I think we'll calibrate that as we move across. I don't think we said that, look, we are generating our own LLM, right? Now, I think that's a very, very involved effort, right? We are trying out all technologies that are available, right? We are making available to our employees the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure that is required so that they can see the art of possible. They can learn what a particular vendor is making it available. In the process, we are also creating, for example, you take a LLM and then you get to train it the way that you would like to train it. So there is significant amount of work that happens. When we say that we have trained about 100,000 plus people in TCS who are Gen AI ready. The first level of training has been completed. So there are a lot of internal projects that are being given to them so that they are also experiencing some of this, right? Whether we will, does it make sense to develop our own LLM, or in what area? Is it going to be a Mickey Mouse or a mountain? These are all big questions. But important thing is, how do you be relevant to customers in their journey of generative AI? And I think we are very well prepared for it.
Right. Just have one last question for Kriti. There has been some internal structural changes which sort of integrates what was the structure pre 2022 and also what was there in 2022. So just wanted to get your perspective on how this new structure is going to help. How are the clients looking at it?
See, the reason that we went for this structure is based on customer centricity, and we wanted to ensure that we are able to bring the best of TCS to each customer. So our customers have reacted very positively to the changes that we have made. We have not heard any negative comment, because in a way it's a natural thing. Customers understand, so that's been quite positively received. So similarly, so same way for our internal organization also, we very seamlessly moved into the structure, and we announced it around July end, I think, and the last 2 months the teams have taken to it, and we produced our Q2 numbers based on the new structure. They are ready to go on this future, so we don't see any hindrance or hiccup along the way for this.
Sure. Thank you.
Tushardeep Singh from BQ Prime.
Hi, gentlemen. The first question is around generative AI. You want all the TCS employees to come back to work. Against that backdrop, what have been the productivity gains as from generative AI if among your own employees, and how do these two equate? Extending the generative AI conversation, how is the deal making in generative AI? What is the deal size like, and are they materially showing in revenue at this moment? Second, a little left field based on the JLR deal. Do you think this auto software business or the auto tech business contributing significantly more as cars become more technology driven. So do you think this will be as big as a business as, say, BFSI in the next, say, decade? Are you looking at something on those lines? Thank you.
Yeah, generative AI, I think, the deal sizes, if you look at it as a standalone generative AI deal, they're all small, right? Because it's about trying it out, right? Yeah, the multiple projects of less than $1 million kind of an opportunities which comes in. But, if you take the JLR deal that we signed, certainly a part of that is related to AI, ML, and, those kind of opportunities will be embedded into this, right? So overall, as I said, it's a huge opportunity which is there, right? It's too early to comment on the productivity gains, right? I have put my own generative AI, something in for my helping me. So it saves 70% of my time, right? That doesn't mean that I will get 70% productivity across the board, right? So I have to go by what I read in the reports. Everybody talks about anywhere between 30 to 40% as a productivity gain. A lot of people are talking about it, but they're also talking about it that gains are going to be offset by the cost that you have to pay for getting all the LLMs and how much you are going to pay. So it's net, it may actually be neutralized. So we have to see how this whole thing evolves. But important thing is that technology is good. It has a huge potential. It has the ability to deliver something which is of superior quality and superior value. And I think how do we exploit that meaningfully for our business and for our clients is something that we have to evolve as the technology matures and more opportunities emerge.
More on the auto software business, do you think it's become as big as BFSI? Also, just a little bit addition to that, what is the kind of overlap or synergies that you may see with, say, a Tata Technologies which is going to IPO in the next 1 month or so? I don't know.
That's out of syllabus.
Yeah.
No, that's out of syllabus. I think I don't want to comment on it, but I think it has what you talked about as the more and more of the vehicle or drones or robotics or any of these things is going to be driven by software, and even the telecom equipment, the radios that you see is going to be a lot more driven by software. So that kind of technology, the engineering piece of software is going to be on the rise, right? Whether it will become bigger than BFSI, no. If I'm a banker, if I wear a banker's hat, I will say no. Right.
Varun Sood from Mint.
Hi, gentlemen. 3 questions, sir. First, specifically on BSNL, the deal value, I believe, is 2.9 billion, and there are 3 companies. So just if you can help us understand how much would be for TCS of the BSNL deal, and what will be the profitability. The second question, sir, up until now, TCS was the only company which managed to increase its headcount sequentially or year over year compared to all IT services companies. But this is the first quarter when you've really seen a kind of a big decline. Are things getting difficult macroeconomically if we see where your headcount is slipping? And will this be the trend going forward, that over the next 2 or 3 quarters, there could be some recalibration with regards to your workforce, especially because over the last 3 years, you've expanded your workforce pretty high. The third and the last question, sir. The first 2 quarters of what is considered to be very good quarters for the Indian IT services companies, yours has been a very soft growth, like some of your other peers. Q3 and Q4 also has a little bit of seasonality and furloughs. So if we have to understand from pre-COVID era, with a little bit of macroeconomic uncertainty, fears of a looming slowdown, furloughs, will Q3 and Q4 be far worse than perhaps pre-COVID? And I'm not asking about FY25. So thank you.
I think BSNL, I don't know where you got that number of 2 plus whatever it is, but as I said, it's a little over $1 billion plus is what we have for us we have contracted so far, right? And there will be others which will come eventually, right? But this is what we have contracted so far. And we don't give breakups in terms of what is for us, what is for somebody else at this point in time. But it's important to recognize that it's a very large, complex deal. We are responsible for establishing the modern 4G, 5G network for BSNL. That includes supply of the equipment, installation, commissioning, the whole RF planning, network design, and making sure that the network works efficiently across coverage, capacity, and experience parameters, right? I think we are focused on that, and I think the project.
तो ये आप मैनेजमेंट को सुन रहे थे। टीसीएस के Q2 रिजल्ट्स आए, फटाफट से मैं सम अप कर दूं इस सेगमेंट को समाप्त करने से पहले। और हुआ ये है कि टीसीएस ने इनलाइन नतीजे दिए हैं, मुनाफे की फिगर इनलाइन है, आय बिलो एस्टिमेट है, मार्जिन अबव एस्टिमेट है। मार्जिन की पिक्चर लगेगी बाजार को बढ़िया, क्योंकि मार्जिन आ गए 24.3% के, जो इंडस्ट्री एस्टिमेट से ऊपर हैं। अब मुनाफे की फिगर जो आई है वो आई है 11,342 करोड़, क्वार्टर ऑन क्वार्टर बेसिस पे 11,074 करोड़ रुपए से बढ़ी है, 2.4% की ग्रोथ देखने को मिली है, और 11,162 करोड़ रुपए की एक्सपेक्टेड थी, यानी कि स्लाइटली अबव कहेंगे या फिर इनलाइन कहेंगे। इनलाइन सही है मुनाफे की फिगर। इसके अलावा आय ये अनुमान से थोड़ा कम हो गया, क्योंकि 60,160 करोड़ रुपए की आय एक्सपेक्टेड थी, उसके मुकाबले 59,692 करोड़ रुपीस की आय कंपनी ने पोस्ट की। लेकिन बेहतर बात क्या हो गई कि ऑपरेशनल फ्रंट पे नतीजे साउंड कर रहे हैं अच्छे, क्योंकि 14,195 करोड़ का इबिट एक्सपेक्टेड था, 14,483 करोड़ रुपए का इबिट कंपनी ने दर्ज किया है, और ये ग्रोथ 5.3% की है क्वार्टर ऑन क्वार्टर बेसिस पे। 13,755 करोड़ से बढ़कर सीधा 14,483 करोड़ का इबिट। तो ये तो बाजार को बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। कामकाजी फ्रंट पे नतीजे शानदार। मार्जिन भी उसी के चलते बढ़ गए। 23.6% का एस्टिमेट था, उसके मुकाबले 24.3% के मार्जिन है, जो कि 23.2% से बढ़े हैं। 110 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का इजाफा क्वार्टर क्वार्टर बेसिस पे मार्जिन में टीसीएस ने रिपोर्ट किया है, तो बाजार को ये बात अच्छी लगेगी। डॉलर रेवेन्यू थोड़ा सा मिस हो गया, 0.2% घटकर आए हैं डॉलर रेवेन्यू, और ये 7,210 करोड़ 7,210 मिलियन यूएस डॉलर्स हैं। तो ये बाजार को थोड़े डॉलर रेवेन्यू की वजह से यहाँ पर थोड़ा हो सकता है दबाव। लेकिन ओवरऑल अब सबसे बड़ी खबर ये है कि 17,000 करोड़ रुपए के बायबैक की घोषणा कर दी है। टेंडर ऑफर रूट के जरिए होगा बायबैक। आप टेंडर कर सकते हो शेयर्स। टेंडर करने मतलब कि कंपनी एक निर्धारित भाव तय करती है। जैसे इस बार टीसीएस ने तय किया 4,150 रुपए प्रति शेयर का। इस भाव पे कंपनी चाहती है कि वो शेयर्स खरीद ले। कितने शेयर्स खरीद ले? 17,000 करोड़ रुपए के वैल्यू के शेयर्स खरीद ले वापस। और अभी क्या चल रहा है भाव? 3600। तो आप ये समझो एक बहुत ही सिग्निफिकेंट प्राइस पे बायबैक लिया है। एस्टिमेट भी ये था कि 4200 रुपए के आसपास का बायबैक आएगा, 4200 रुपए प्रति शेयर के आसपास का, और 41-50 रुपए प्रति शेयर के आसपास का बायबैक आया है। तो ये ठीक है, सब कुछ शेयरधारकों के हितों में है। हाँ, बस यही है कि अब ये नेक्स्ट फ्यू क्वार्टर्स कंपनी कैसे रजिस्टर करती है ग्रोथ, लेकिन अभी भी यही समझ में आ रहा है मार्जिन इंटैक्ट है, ऑर्डर पाइपलाइन बड़ी स्ट्रांग है, ऑर्डर बुक बहुत स्ट्रांग है। तो भैया कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कोई डिप आए तो फिर से खरीदारी का मौका आ जाएगा, और अब मिड कैप आईटी स्टॉक्स पे बेट लग सकती है। एलटीएम यानी कि लास्ट 12 मंथ एट्रिशन रेट 14.9% की है, इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड्स के हिसाब से बहुत कम, और ऑर्डर बुक 1,120 करोड़ डॉलर की है, जो कि बहुत बेहतर है। मार्केट्स कौन सी ग्रो करके गई हैं? एक तो यूके मार्केट और दूसरा खाड़ी देश। तो ये इंपॉर्टेंट था। और मैं फिर कह रहा हूँ मुनाफा इनलाइन है, मार्जिन अबव एस्टिमेट है। फिलहाल इस इंपॉर्टेंट अपडेट से इतना ही। बिजनेस जगत के तमाम अपडेट्स के लिए आप जुड़ रहे हैं BIZ तक के साथ। नमस्कार।